They call me Squirrel.
What's going on, Squirrel Squad? It's your boy, the Squirrel, and after I watched the video of Fred Dibnah climbing the chimney stack, everyone said to me, you gotta watch him ladder a chimney. There's two parts. There's Ladder a Chimney Part 1, Ladder a Chimney Part 2. They're both 10 minutes long. I'm gonna do them back to back in one video. Might as well knock this all out together, and that's if I can get through it all. I don't know. This guy is gonna climb a ladder and put ladders up as he goes up. And I don't understand how that's even possible or going to happen, but we're going to watch it, and I'm sure Fred's going to teach me. So, if it's your first time here, make sure you hit the subscription button, the notification bell, all that good fun stuff. Leave a comment, say hello. What's going on, Squirrel Squad? So you say to all of us, right? We're all here for you. It's okay. There we go. Fred Dibnah, laddering a chimney. Uno.
Well, basically, this is sort of a packing that keeps the ladder off the wall of the chimney, so there's room for your boots to go through, you know, on the rungs of the ladder. There's two schools of thought in this. One that, tying them on with string is time-consuming and all that, which it is. But the thing is, when it's being pulled up the side of the chimney, by my mate here, it bangs against something. It only busts the string, you know. Like the other school of thought is have a metal construction that's bolted to the ladder, which when that hits an iron band or something like that, it busts the bloody ladder, you see. String is cheaper than brand new ladders. So, but it does take a bit of time to tie them all on.
I noticed these when I watched the first video. I saw these footings. I figured they were handmade, obviously. I also noticed it says Dibnah on the side of all of his ladders. I believe it does anyway. I thought I saw those on the last video where it just says Dibnah on all the ladders. So you'll know if you come across a huge chimney or steeple or something like that, and you see those ladders, you know who did it. I'm sure he probably has a pretty unique construction style anyhow, but I don't know.
That's the only problem. Right. Now it's going to be just underneath the third rung, so there's room for your boots. They've just got to be just underneath the third rung, so there's room for your boots there. If you tie it on there, it's amazing how it gets in way. It's in the wrong shop because there's no room for your feet.
This guy's tying wood to a ladder with string. And he's going
to basically that piece of wood is just to put there to hold the ladder off the wall. Here we are drilling the first hole in which there is an hole actually there that's just been pointed up.
It's quite the drill, Fred.
To knock in the first dog.
I get the idea.
Which will be the holdfast at the base of the first ladder, as you might say. Then goes the plug wood, which, as you can see, it don't go in very far, but it's quite far enough, it's quite safe. And that's what's termed as a dog. Then I'm going to knock in now. And then
okay, first of all, I initially thought when I saw that he was going to tie the ladder to the blocks of wood, and I thought this has got to be pretty freaking stupid. Now I understand a little more. You got the dog that goes in there, but wood rots, right? Doesn't wood rot? It didn't look like that wood was treated in any way for being outdoors. That's an awful lot of trust in the natural occurrence of rotting.
The next stage,
not for me,
is to the piece of rope. It's called a lashing, and it's a piece of rope about 5 foot long with a loop spliced on one end, as you can see. The next stage is to prop up a ladder and climb up it as though you were going up to clean the bedroom
big
window.
Ladders.
And then about 5 feet from the top of that ladder, you drill another hole, but in our case the hole's already there. You drill another hole as plumb and straight above the one below as you can get it.
So the holes are already there, and they're plugged with cement, and he just has to drill the hole into it. Now I wonder, when they built the chimney, did they put these plugs in there so that someone could ladder it at a later date? Or were these filled when the original laddering fell down? Because I believe it said 1929 for the construction year of this stack. Fred was 66, I believe, when he passed, and I think that was in 2004. I could be wrong. But if that's the case, this thing was built years before, 10, 12 years before he was even born. Before, so it wasn't like they did it for him, right? But I wonder why these plugs are here. There had to have been a ladder system before, I would assume.
And insert another piece of plug wood.
Yeah,
and
another piece
another
of
dog.
wood. It's wood. It's wood, Fred. Just wood. Plug wood. You're just leaning over the ladder like that? No, that's a big no. No. This guy has no idea. He's just watching it happen. Yeah, whatever. I think he's part of the crew.
As you
Probably
get a
has
bit
no
higher
idea
up,
how
the
popular
holes have a
Fred's gonna end up being
tendency
over
to
the
get a
years.
bit deeper. I think it's called fear.
Solid things in there. Oh, I see. Okay.
Here you see the first ladder is in position, and I'm about to tie it onto the bottom dog, or the bottom holdfast, which that's where the beer belly comes in handy. It's sort of round the hook, round the side of the cheek of the ladder, under the rung, round the hook, round the other cheek of the ladder, round the rung, and then back round the rung below, and a 12-inch on, and that's got it fast. It will not come off.
I mean, in fairness to the wood,
thing
that
to
can
do
rot.
also is use as much of the rope up as you can, because in a gale the ends start to blow about.
In fairness to me, talking about the wood that can rot, I believe these look like wooden ladders, and rope also decays. So, screw it. I guess at this point, those little wooden pegs don't make much of a difference.
And the whipping comes off the end of the rope, and then you've got one with like a cat o' nine tails end on it, blowing about in the wind. That is the pulley wheel to pull up the next ladder.
So far, so good on the Fred video here. So far, pretty easy. If he falls from here, he's just going to twist an ankle or something. I'm okay with all this. This is fine. Interesting. I mean, I wouldn't trust this fucking ladder for the life of me. Trust me. Nope.
Here, the next operation is to tie the
I'm glad he moved that wire.
ladder to the top dog, or the top holdfast that you've just knocked in, without tying it to the haulage rope, because you sometimes, if you're not paying attention or you're trying to talk to somebody who's mithering you on the floor, you end up lapping it round. You see how easy it would be to lap it round the haulage rope.
I think it's cool that he's commentating this. I like that.
That is now, the bottom ladder is now firmly fixed and as good as it'll ever be to the wall of the chimney.
Yeah, there you go. Just give it a good jolt. Make sure
and
it's
the next
on
operation is to climb up to the top of that ladder and sit astride the top iron rung and reach up as far as you can and drill another hole in the brickwork, which of course it's very easy for me here, because having done this thing about 7 times before and used exactly the same holes every time, I know exactly how far I'm reaching and where I'm going. And
He's laddered the same chimney 7 times. Is that correct? I think that's what he said. So these ladders don't last very long? I don't know. I think that's what he said. Maybe. I don't know.
It's quite an easy operation to keep the whole stack of ladders in a very straight line.
Just a reliable piece of wood being hammered in. Those dogs can't be light. He's just got a pocket full of them things. Jeez.
If you're putting them up and you wander towards one side, when you're putting the staging up at the top and you've got one ladder that's maybe 2 foot gone a bit sideways, and say the other one's gone the other way, it looks rather an erratic effort at the top. Everything's out of line and out of square. Now we've drilled the hole approximately 5 feet above the top of the bottom ladder and hooked on the pulley wheel. Now this is where the tricky bit comes in.
Big ladders.
The second ladder is tied on approximately 9 rungs from the top, which is about midway. And of course, when it's being pulled up by the labourer or the man down below, we lose more or less half a ladder of a lap, which you'll see the reason for this shortly. The thing is, as that ladder comes up, or the second ladder comes up, on the bottom rung of it, there are 2 lashings, one of which I'm using now to tie the bottom rung to the nearest corresponding rung of the ladder that's stuck to the wall.
He's got to tie it so he can get up and put the second peg, I think. But so far he's tied one rung to one rung, and he's gonna... I don't know what he's gonna do. I'm guessing he's gonna climb this thing, only being held by the bottom rung. Let's take a look.
I've got the other lashing round my neck, and the 2 steeplejack hooks which have come up with it are stuck in my belt. Now, that's a secondary sort of safety precaution, the one with just a clovitch round the side, just in case that hook there that I've got my hand on, or the one that the pulley's on, if that happened to come out, I'd still be in with a chance, you know. The ladder would still be connected with 2 hooks to the bottom one. As you can see, it's slightly precarious there how it shakes about, but once you've lashed it to that top hook, which is 5 foot above the bottom ladder, you've only got about 6 rungs above that are standing in free space, or what you might call unconnected to the chimney. It is now possible to unhook the pulley wheel and carry it up the back side of the ladder and hook it on the top iron rung, while you use one of the dogs that's stuck in your belt to, you know, get another purchase 5 foot higher up still, you see.
He's literally straddling the top of a ladder, leaning forward on it, which would, when you lean forward the top, it pulls the bottom out, and the bottom is just held together with just a piece of rope wrapped around a couple of rungs. Yeah, so no problem with this. You know, I know people say, like, nowadays health and safety wouldn't allow this. Man, since I've been a kid, we've had, it's called, over here it's called OSHA. I don't know, no idea what it stands for. I can't think of it anyways. But anyways, they've been around. I remember being a kid and I got a job as a janitor at 16 years old at the elementary school, and I had to go through all this OSHA regulations to read it first about chemicals and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how. I don't know. This is how things were, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't know. But they say now health and safety wouldn't let this happen. How do they do it now? Is it all done with cranes and stuff, I guess? I suppose.
Once you've drilled that hole and put the dog in, you can lift up the pulley wheel onto the dog, which of course one end of the rope is still attached to the ladder that you were sat on. And then you'll see in a minute where when I come down and untie that ladder, my man at the bottom pulls and up goes the whole 21 pins of the ladder.
Piece of wood.
Onto the top of the bottom ladder, which sounds unbelievably complicated, but it is quite a simple operation, really. In fact, it's so simple you can do on a good chimney on a good day where it isn't windy and you don't manage to thump the hell out your hand with the hammer. Like, you know, I mean, if you...
That's what I was just thinking. I'm more afraid right now he's going to hit his hand with a damn hammer than him falling.
Miss with the hammer, it's rather painful. There goes the pulley wheel. Down the ladder. Untie the lashing at the top that's holding the top of the ladder.
Untie the ladder that you're on.
Now it all comes loose and flops about in the wind. That's the dodgy bit when it's very windy and you're 3/4 of the way up and the wind's trying to snap the ladder off sideways.
Oh my God.
It's quite exciting.
Exciting?
And there's the secondary lashing on the side, and then finally the one at the bottom. When you've released it at the bottom, it's at the mercy of the man on the floor and the wind. Sometimes it's rather awkward when it's very windy and the ladders start twisting round the rope, you know, that's pulling the thing up. Wow.
Okay, so that was part one. We're gonna get into part two. Not that bad, part one, because it was just the first and second ladder. Very interesting how these things are constructed. Let's check out part two. Here goes.
Now it's now in the right position for fixing onto the sockets at the bottom, and of course you see how close to the top hoop that it's being held against the wall by the man on the floor. Very important that the man on the floor is you've got his wall concentration all the time. That's why it's better using an older man than a younger man who has a tendency to wander off looking at ladies' skirts and things like that. Because if he disappears, you fall off. That's the setting ladder up, and that's what it's all about.
Wow.
Well, almost up.
That I couldn't do that. Look at this. Yeah, slides it over. I mean, I guess you got to position it, but I just
This
can't.
method of laddering factory chimneys is quite a recent sort of invention, like 1870s period. A bit before then, they actually flew kites to get string across the tops of chimneys, a right weird situation. I think when they were, the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, when they started to erect chimney stacks, nobody gave it a great deal of thought as to how they were going to get up there to repair the things. Because, of course, they were all built from the inside, more or less right from the beginning of building fairly large ones to building the really monstrous things that there are today at power stations.
Chimney.
Like the
Does he have to
early
go up and
ones,
down every time he adds a
1820s
ladder,
were
I wonder?
only like
these
60
are,
and 50
we'll
feet
say
high.
20 feet.
And of course, they
So
could build them
15
with a
ladders
conventional
for a 300
scaffold
foot
around
chimney,
the
right?
outside.
Does he have to go up and
Because
down
they were
every
a no
time?
great girth,
Look at this. Oh,
to circumnavigate the wall of that chimney, which might be 60 odd feet circumference with scaffolding, is going to cost a heck of a lot of money. That's why I think steeplejacks have still still earn a crust of bread. It is one of the good and reliable ways of getting up there. Basically, having got the second ladder up, you've more or less conquered it in a way. How you actually do the job. The thing is, you just keep repeating the process. 9 rungs from the top, 2 lashings on the bottom, and 2 dogs, and up it comes. And all as you're up there with is your hammer, your chisel, the plug wood, and the end of the pulley wheel and the rope. The important thing not to do is let the rope run through the block and go tumbling down, which means that you've got to come down and get the end of the rope and carry the thing up. Which 200 foot of hemp rope is fairly heavy, and by the time you've got back to the top with it, you're getting a bit out of breath. The other thing is, the higher up you get, and the harder it gets, because of course the guy at the bottom has got to pull the ladder up further, and you've got to send the end of the rope down further.
Unbelievable.
And also the progression towards the top as you get higher it slows down a bit. This basically is an inspection to give a quote for any forthcoming repairs that need sorting out. Over the years, the first job I ever did were above the collar, the 10 feet of brickwork above the collar. I put some new iron bands round and pointed it all, and a new lightning conductor on. Then on subsequent visits, I pointed all the panel work round the top 30 feet. And now from the sailing course below that to below the green and white banded area of tile bricks, it's badly in need of pointing. So I'm going to give them an estimate to do that.
So he's got to put these ladders in so he can go up to give them an estimate.
That's a bit of old-time steeplejack's plug wood, you know. If we knock that in there, will be dead and gone, without a doubt. Quite rotten, you know. These patches I pointed up, they were some very poor quality steeplejacks damaged the brickwork, you know, didn't know how to work an hammer and chisel. It's always policy to leave the ladders there until you've come to the financial arrangement with the management about whether they're going to have it done or not, which saves you having to put the ladders up again. The thing is that having secured the contract, if we're going to do it, we've then got to put what's termed as a staging round the top.
That's why there's the holes there, because every time it needs work, they put the ladders up. This isn't something that's put up and left up. Now I understand better. You see the boom crane here that's taking the pictures right here. But now it makes more sense to me. So they ladder the chimney, then they go up and give them the estimate. This is nuts. What if the guy's like, oh, it's too much for me. Take your ladders down. What the fuck? So these ladders aren't some. That's why they have his name on them. I thought this was something that systems they put on all these things so that they could always constantly be worked on or accessed. But crazy enough, this is actually something that is put up to work on it and then taken back down, it appears. Fuck me running. Oh my fucking god.
You hear it how it's addled, holler, you know. It's a shame, really. Getting near the top, it's always like that, you know. I think this time a few iron bands might be called for, you know, to screw it together a bit. A bit of me pointing come out up there on them big copings. Can you see it? 6 inches off the lightning conductor. Not bad that though, it's a long time since I did it. Some of them are loose. it's a trifle handled around that area. I don't think the full 9-inch headers, they're only halves, you know. Well, an header is a brick on end, like that should be. But I don't think it is. They wouldn't sound as holler if it were a full 9-inch brick going in. It's only half of one, I think. I'm only surmising.
I love how he just has casual conversation while he's dangling from a frickin' ladder that high in the air that's not even secured all the way yet. He still has to go put another dog in. This guy really, I mean, I understand people say he's a legend and I get it. This is awesome. I mean,
these are my dog holes that support my scaffold when I'm putting the scaffolding up.
Back to drilling another hole there, huh, Fred? Bastard.
When you sat on top of there, like king of the castle, The view used to be quite interesting in this area. There were numerous collieries, the last of which disappeared a few months ago, and lots of mill chimneys, and I think you can see about 4 left now out of all of them, out of dozens and dozens. Not very far away there's the parish church of Atherton, which has got a distinct list on it through the mining subsidence. Well, that's it now. We've nearly conquered it. The north face of the Eiger.
I was just laughing. Crazy. Oh, the end when he takes his leg off and puts it back, and he's just on both feet, same side ladder, and he's got one thing in his hand, and he's just kind of. I know he never fell. I know he was obviously great at what he did. It still scares the shit out of me, just as equally watching him. So, I learned a lot. This was really I got into this because we were talking about heights and stuff, but there was some scary heights parts, but it's pretty amazing, really, to think about the physical feat this man completes just putting this ladder up. A series of ladders. Fred Dibnah, you're a ledge, buddy. A ledge. Unbelievable. I've got a couple others picked out. I know there's a scaffolding one that I'm been asked to watch. Shaking like a shitting dog, just thinking about that one. And then there was one or two other ones that I saw, and I was like, So there'll be some more Dibnah in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I learned a lot, and I enjoyed learning, and that's what it's all about. I learned with my stomach in my throat, so that was fun. I hope you guys have a great day, great rest of whatever you're doing. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, Squirrel out. Fuck yeah, fuck yeah, F-C-K-Y-A. Fuck yeah, fuck yeah, F-C-K-Y-A. I really hate your fucking guts, and I